You know, the real beauty of being in the woods is you don't need too much equipment to be comfortable. So today, I'm going to show you how to light a fire the natural way, no matter what the weather, and how to avoid an embarrassing explosion when you're cooking. This tussock grass makes ideal tinder. All you do is comb out the dead, dry pieces from the top. That's what I'm looking for, my old friend sphagnum moss. This is just absolutely perfect for stopping the explosion. You know, it's difficult to live in a forest without a cutting tool, but that doesn't necessarily mean a knife. Flint is an excellent alternative, and this is a good place to look for it, the base of fallen trees. Flint like this is ideal. Struck a glancing blow with another rock, pieces will come off that are razor sharp. I'm going to light today's fire using an Arctic technique called the bow drill. Now for this, I'm going to need some dead standing wood. A good choice in Britain is sycamore. First job is to break this off at the right length. To make sure it breaks in the right place, I'm going to carve it a little bit to start with. You can see just how sharp flint is. Right, well, I finished the top end of the drill. As you can see, it's much more pointed than the other end, because at the base we want to maximize friction and the top minimize it. But now I've got to make the half, and for that I'm going to need to carve the bigger piece of wood. It's going to be easier if I can make this board thinner, so I'm going to try splitting it. Now sycamore doesn't split particularly well, but we'll do the best we can. Using a bit of flint, I hammer it in. That's going to be perfect. Just what we need, a nice flat board. To start the drilling, I'm just going to help it by making a small depression with flint. There's the hearth and here's the drill. And to help me push down, I've carved this piece of wood which is going to sit on top. Now to make the drill spin, I've got a bow and I'm going to need a piece of string. And that's why we always wear lace-up shoes. The drill goes in the string like that. And with that, I can now begin to drill. But we're not quite ready to make the fire just yet. First of all, I have to carve a notch in the side of this board. Now the purpose of this notch is to collect a fine sawdust that's produced by the drilling, which will form itself into an ember with which we can light our fire. The really important thing about a bow drill set is it's a reliable way of making a fire in bad weather. It just takes a bit of practice. Right, well now I need my bomb. The humble egg. Now, you can make a hole in an egg and cook him in the embers, but in my experience, half the time they either burn or they blow up in your face. So, take some of the sphagnum moss that we gathered earlier, take the egg whole, no hole in it, wrap him in the sphagnum moss, and just plonk it straight on the fire. While I'm waiting for the egg to cook, I'll put some roots on the fire too. I've just raked out some embers here, and I'll just plonk them on like that and toast them gently. Well, the roots are pretty much ready to eat. Dandelions, very much like parsnips, a bit bitter. And the onion, when you cook these, the ramsons, they lose their nasty aftertaste. You're just ready for the egg. Sphagnum moss has done a wonderful job. There it is there. Looks pretty good. Oh, it's hot. Perfect. And no egg on my face.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to try and crawl to the edge of these cliffs and have a look over.
but I never got more than about 5 yards away from them, which was just as well, because these cliffs are crumbling away. If you get too close to them, you'll crumble away with them. My walk's starting just short of the Beltoot Lighthouse on the cliffs. From there we're going to go over the cliffs down to Berlin Gap, where we can get down onto the beach and walk along under the Seven Sisters, those magnificent chalk cliffs. And we'll emerge at the Cookmere Haven, where the river meanders finally meet the sea. And my walk will end just below the Seaford Head Nature Reserve at Hope Gap. The Beltoot Lighthouse was built in 1834 on the site of an old Iron Age fort. Amazingly, 15 years ago, as the cliff fell away, a 350-foot well shaft was exposed. This is one of the best bits of undeveloped coastline in the southeast of England. There are no hotels here, no kiosks, no amusement arcades. It's a home to thousands of seabirds, including migratory species such as fulmar. The Coast Guard's cottages here at Berlin Gap, they're only about 100 years old, but because the cliffs are eroding so fast, they've already lost one. It looks like the tide's on the turn now, so let's go down onto the beach. This place is one of the really wild places still left on the southeast coast of Britain. When I was a child, I used to come down here regularly, especially in the summer, drop netting for spider crabs and prawns in the chalk gullies under the waves. We're about halfway along the walk now, under the Seven Sisters. The Seven Sisters are the marine guardians of the south coast. No one's completely sure why they're called the Seven Sisters, especially since there are actually 8 of them. It's believed that they remind people of 7 nuns' veils. What they are, in fact, is dry valleys that have been undercut by the waves over the years to form these spectacular sheer chalk cliffs and this wave-cut platform with the gullies below. We've arrived now at the Cookmere Haven, where the dramatic meanders of the Cookmere River finally meet the sea. This is a considerable shingle bank here, populated with species such as yellowhorn poppy, biting stonecrop, and this, sea kale. It's always been a fantastic place to see migratory birds of all sorts. Well, during the Second World War, they put huge lights along this river. The reason being, German bombers looking for HMS Ford, which was based at Newhaven, a few miles west of here, would get confused. When word was received that the bombers were on their way, they'd turn off all the lights at Newhaven, turn on the lights here, and the bombers would hit the wrong target. And this is Hope Gap, where my walk ends. Loads of rock pools, all sorts of marine life, mussels and limpets and shore crabs. But there's one other reason I brought you here, and that's this. The story goes that this cable linked Whitehall to the Kremlin and to Washington during World War II, carrying vital messages to and fro. And amazingly, it's still here.
This is Whitehall.
This is the United States of America. Can you put me through to the Kremlin, please?
Putting you through.
Možná mi slieda, čo odčiela k telefonu?
I'm connecting you to the Prime Minister now.
Yeah.